Welcome back. Got everything nice and dry, so all our detail is intact. Now we're going to do the glaze, and I'm going to start in the same petal, upper left, work my way around, and we aren't going to do the filament. We're going to go around those so they'll stay the same. I am going up in size. I'm on a number 6, which is a fairly large brush compared to the US. Number 6s are much smaller than this one. So it's probably a size 8 US. I'm trying to see if I can find a US 6 here. Yeah, here's an 8. That'd be the best way to show you. Yeah, it's almost the same size as in the US 8. So what I do like about the Billy Shoal brushes is they have that lovely, lovely point. So this is a red-orange glaze, and it's going to go over everything, all of the, yeah, that's bringing out that red-orange perfectly. I think I've mixed up enough color that I shouldn't have to go back and mix any, and I just went over like a dope, but there we go. Shouldn't have to mix up any more, and I did put the blending and glazing medium in the mixture, so that should help it blend out a little bit too. And again, this is just a glaze. A glaze is where you go over everything you've just done, and it's going to darken the darks and the lights are still going to shine through. That's the nice thing about watercolors. Is it everything underneath shines through, or glows through, however you want to say it. Yeah, I'm glad I went up in the size on this brush because it's holding a lot more paint and I don't have to go back and forth. And this is nice because it's just unifying everything together. And then before we put the spots on, we'll go back and double check everything, make sure it all looks the way we want it to look. We don't need to capture some more of those highlights or something underneath. But what we're going to do today then is I am going to pull out some of the highlights that we kind of went over with the glaze. So I want to get this highlight out of there. There's a highlight there. There's one over here. Just a slight one over there. So again, with your eradicator, you want to make sure that your brush is damp. You want to have a piece of paper towel or Kleenex or something in your hand to pick that paint up. Wipe your brush off so you don't reapply what you just removed. And this is pretty normal, especially after a glaze. Periodically wipe your brush, clean it. Alright, so now we're going to come over in here. There's a pretty bright light right in there. Slow but sure, the eradicator will take that paint off, especially if you dab it with a dry cloth like that. I don't want it to go back to the white, but I do want it to be lighter right there. Alright. Just double checking my reference photo. I have it propped up next to me. So it's wiggle your brush, pick up the paint, and wipe your brush off, but making sure that it is still damp. Okay, so we got that one pretty well checked in. Let me get, there's a highlight right in here, and it helps to connect this petal a little bit better too, so definitely one that we want to go after. See what a difference that made just with that highlight there, so you could see that those petals, that is all one petal there. It's going to change too once we get the polka dots or whatever you want to call them on here. Flower dots. You always want to dab it with a clean section of your cloth that you have in your hand. And then there's some over here too on this petal. I did go ahead and I created the browns for the spots. I guess that's what we'll call them, is spots. And we're going to take it petal by petal so that we get them in there the way that we want them in there. So we're going to start with this petal, actually this side of this petal, and they're fairly dark. They just right in here. I'm just going to mark that with my pencil, if I can find a pencil. There's a red one, that'll work. So it goes right up to about there, and then it gets a mid value, and then it's lighter up in there. Alright, so that'll kind of give us a general idea of where we're going with those. And the colors that I created, what I did was I took all the red and the orange on my palette and pulled it together and added a touch of burnt umber and burnt sienna, and that's our light value. So that'll be the dots up in here. And then to darken it, I added more burnt umber and more burnt sienna, and that created our mid value. And again, you'll get a copy of the color map. And then to darken it, I added a touch of the neutral tint. So I have 3 values for these spots. So we're going to start with the darkest one first. I'm going to go to a smaller brush here. This is size 5. Doesn't have quite the long bristles that the other ones that we were using have. I'm going to add a little bit of water here. And I think it'll be blending and glazing medium water. Because I don't want my paint to dry out as we go to paint. And this will, blending and glazing medium, will keep it good. Alright. So all I did was put in water that's got blending and glazing medium mixed into it. And that's what I'm going to coat my brush with as well. And I'm going to pick up my dark color. And we're going to add just a little bit more neutral tint because it just doesn't seem quite dark enough to me like the picture. And a little bit more burnt umber. That's getting better. There we go. Okay. Now I'm going to put turn this so I can get at it because we're going to start right down in this area. And I'm going to put my picture right beside me. Now some of these are a little bit disjointed, but that's the way they are because that's the way the petal is folded. So we're going to put, this could actually be darker yet. I'm wondering if I couldn't put just a touch of black in there. Hate to put black on flowers, but I think these spots could use it. Yeah, that's what it needs. A little bit more burnt umber and a little bit more touch of black. Perfect. Okay. So I'm going to roll my brush to make sure I get a nice point. Now these are almost like a teardrop shape, especially down in this area. I'm going to put the ones on the side in first too, because then I can tell where I need to go for the other ones. These are right up against that edge. And they're nice and dark in this area, so we want to make sure we got them nice and dark. Right on that edge. Okay, and then these ones, there's 3 right in a row here, and this next one up is a little bit longer. You want to try to make them look just like the photograph, if at all possible, just simply because that's the way they grew. And that's the way they're going to look realistic. Now this one's not quite as long. So we got those 2. Now there's quite a round one right in here. It's fairly large. You can see it doesn't take a lot of paint. I haven't had to reload my brush yet. And I'm staying nice and dark. And then right in here, there's another round one. Rounder, like that. And then there's a smaller one right here. Now if you get them all in exactly the same, good for you. If you don't, oh well, you've done your best, right? Try to do it as best you can. This one's kind of flat on that side, so we'll do that. And then there's one, a little tiny one that's connected here. And then right in here by the crease is just a partial one sticking out, so we'll do it that way. Same thing down here. Kind of like that. And then this one is kind of going across the crease with another one right here. They're kind of strange, aren't they? And then another smaller one right here. But this is what makes the painting right here, is adding a little bit of water to my mixture so it doesn't dry out on me. Alright, so we've got all the way up to here, and that's just about 2, 3, yeah, I got one more to put here, and then the value is going to change. And we're just going to do this half of the petal first. See, now that one could actually be a little darker. There we go. The values you want to try to be sure and get the same. Okay, now the next ones are going to be lighter. So I am, make sure I've got enough water in here. Keep this going. It's kind of more of a reddish brown. Now there's some right in here on the edge of this petal, and they're connected. See the different value we got here? That's perfect. Absolutely perfect. And then right up here is one more half. And then just as it leaves this underneath petal is another one. And then the rest of them will be lighter yet. This one's pretty big. There. Okay. Now, as we go to the left, right up above this one is a fairly large, more rounded, like that. Right up above it, and I'm gauging from these smaller ones so I can see right where I need to place the next one. So I'm gauging it with all the different things around it, if that makes sense. I hope it does. So we got that one, and that one, and then there's a kind of oval shaped one over in here. And just above this one there's an oval shaped one as well. Okay, and then I'm going to go back down. There's two over here, more rounded as well. And then this one is a skinnier one up against there. And you've got this one. And that one's a little bit more oval shaped too. Okay, well now we go, I think the next batch, yep, we got those in there, so we're good there. Now up in here, we're going to go lighter. Alright, so they get further and so right up against here is a round one. Then there's an oval one here because it's flipping away from us. This one as well, it's smaller. And skinnier. Got one right up in here that's perfect there, and then this one. Now there's two small ones up here that are this value, so I'm just going to go ahead on this side and fill those in. This one's almost a half moon shaped one like that. And then just north of this one is a dark one right here, or a long one I should say, like that. And then there's a lighter one in here, and another lighter one over here. Some of these are almost like a painter put their brush down and left their tip on one side. Alright, so now I'm going to go back down to the mid value and we'll go right down. Let's see, we got those two. We want to put one right here. Step by step. Trying to keep my hand out of the other ones. Okay. Got one right up against this edge. Very skinny one right there. You can barely tell it's there. And then we kind of go into, well, it's not really the dark value yet, so I'm going to keep on going. kind of like a partial one right there. Same thing over here. Just some little markings in here is all you can really see. And now we need to go into our darker value. And then that petal will be done. Just creating a little bit more paint there. Now in this area, you can see there's just a lot of little, at that section of light ones in. And there's just some little dots right in here too. Right where the petal twists and turns and that type of thing. So they're not really circles in here, they're just kind of more little markings. I'm just going to work right down. Some of these are connected, it appears. My neighbor's blowing the leaves off his yard. They happen to be our leaves off of our trees. Doesn't make him very happy. He's got nothing. He's retired. He's at home all the time. He has nothing to do but blow leaves, but I know it doesn't make him happy. What you gonna do? Leaves blow, or trees blow leaves. What are you gonna do? Or I should say they drop leaves. Okay, that one is in.